Hey everybody, Bully here a little bit late, just a little bit, just 5 hours late for the weekly news recap, the 27th of November to the 3rd of December 2023. So, we'll get into our updates. So this week, Capcom showed off a bit more Dragon's Dogma 2. They got the main trailer here for it, as well as some updates around gameplay, some new vocations, as character classes and stuff like that. It does altogether looks very impressive. It does also kind of feel like they're redoing the first game. Like, it doesn't really quite feel like it's going to be a sequel. It feels a little bit more like they're just doing Dragon's Dogma again, which is fine because it's still a very good game. And to be done with new and improved graphics and so on, it still looks very clunky, which is kind of what Dragon's Dogma was in the first place, I suppose. We do have a release date for it now. It is coming out on the 22nd of February of next year. So actually pretty soon. Sooner than I was expecting it to. Showing off a couple of new monsters, a couple of new areas. There was a full showcase this week, which is 30 minutes long. Has a lot more to it. Showing off the Dullahan enemy there, which is not in the first game. As well as a couple of new vocations. You've got something that is a bit more of a support or saboteur style class, as opposed to in the original game, it was mostly all attacking. That is a support style, and then there's a bit of story going on there as well. But we'll skip ahead to the part where they tell you when the game's coming out. Oh, never mind, it's March. So why did I think it was February? What's coming out in February? Something's coming out on 22nd February. Okay, March 22nd, 2024, and then of course there's the obligatory DLC. You can even get the One Ring from Sauron. It's not called that, but that's basically what it is. Moving on. Elsewhere, Pacific Drive, the Road Light game. You might have seen this shown off a couple of times. It's a first-person game where you are driving in this sort of station wagon, effectively, in a isolated section of the Pacific Northwest area that has been quarantined because of some kind of shenanigans, aliens or something. Your character somehow gets into the quarantine to sort of, I don't know, joyride, I guess. But I think the gist of the game is you need to figure out what's going on. But then also your car is kind of your only landline. If you ever get out of your car, you're extremely vulnerable. So you're tricking the car out to be like a big tank, effectively, by the end of the game. And that's kind of the gist of it. It's kind of showing you a lot of stuff from outside the car here, but the vast majority of the game, you're going to be inside the car. And by that, I mean, it's first person. You don't have a third person view of the car, even though all of this is showing a third person view. As far as I'm aware, gameplay is you're sitting in the driver's seat, effectively. Anyway, it is a roguelite kind of thing. You go out and you try to get as far into the area as you can. That's the game that's coming out in February. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Mostly because I'm just entirely sure how the game plays. You know, what exactly are the things you're going to be fighting or avoiding, as the case may be. But yeah, it'll be out soon enough. Then we had Cookie Cutter, also has a release date early next year. No, not early next year. This one is next month. This month, December. It's actually pretty soon. So we did see a little bit of this at a couple of different games showcases around October. It is a pretty violent 2D side-scrolling brawler type thing. And as soon as you say 2D side-scrolling anything, I have to get it. I'm contractually obligated. Contracted who? I don't know. Myself, I guess. Somebody has to go and get these things. Anyway, so Cookie Cutter, just think Metroid, Castlevania, Metroidvania, that kind of thing. Only extremely violent, very, I don't know, 90s punk kind of vibe going for it. I think it is not this week, but the week after, December 14th, 2023. Flintlock, Siege of Dawn. This has been shown off quite a few times and has always had a kind of nebulous, it's coming soon-ish. I think a lot of people expected that it was going, myself included, expected it would have been out by now. But I do believe earlier in the year it did have a, yeah, we're coming back later. Sure hope they catch that sword. Okay, they did. They have a third arm, don't worry about it. So Flintlock Siege of Dawn did seem like it was going to be a Souls-y type game. But the more you see of it now, it feels like it's probably a bit more, it's a bit closer to God of War. I'd say it has that more of that kind of combat feel to it. It's still a bit pulled out, center screen, which is why I kind of thought, you know, Souls type stuff, but I don't know. Your character's a bit too mobile for Souls, I guess is the issue. Flintlock Siege of Dawn is a alternate Earth thing where the gods are very real and they've decided to subjugate us for no reason whatsoever. That's a horribly realistic spider. Okay, anyway, Flintlock Siege of Dawn's new release window still doesn't have an actual release date, but it will be out next year at some point. Middle of next year, I think, is what they went with. Summer 2024. So again, we still don't really know, but it is going to be Game Pass. So if you already have Xbox Game Pass, you don't really have to do anything. It'll show up eventually. Beyond Good and Evil 2, the 20th anniversary edition, has been rumored for a while, and it's even out in the wild now. People are playing it long before Ubisoft have even announced it's a thing. Ubisoft have now, you know, the cat's out of the bag. They can't really avoid talking about it anymore. Yes, Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary is a thing. It'll be launching next year at some point. And as Eurogamer points out, so that's 21 years after the original. It's not the 20th anniversary, it's the 21st anniversary, but okay. Due to a technical error, an early development version of Beyond Good and Evil 20th anniversary was released to some Ubisoft Plus subscribers, yada yada yada. They're able to play it. This is an early version of the game. It's not, you know, don't expect that the actual release will play like this or whatever. I haven't watched any of it, so I don't know if it looks shit or whatever. Yeah, I've been trying to run this myself, the PC version of it on the Steam Deck, and it just does not want to play ball with me, because I've been meaning to get it on the channel for ages. So if this 20th anniversary one is not a shit port, then you'll probably expect to see it on the channel maybe when it comes out, because I've been dying to replay this game. Anyway, moving on. Deca Police. So Deca Police is the next game from Level 5. It's a detective RPG. Think Persona, but like Phoenix Wright squished together kind of deal. That's what we're going with. It's being delayed. Again, it was supposed to be out now-ish, in and around now, 2020, end of 2023. It's now been moved to 2024. Not specified when exactly in 2024, just next year at some point. Which is a little disappointing, but, you know, as I say, anytime these games get delayed, it's fine. There's so many other games to play, don't worry about it. 2.5D cyberpunk action game Quantic River announced. Okay, so this is a game, again, it's a 2.5 2D side-scrolling thingamajig. I have to talk about it. What's really interesting to me now is its art direction. So it does have this kind of high-quality pixelated look to it, but the animations are really interesting because they do look like... How to explain it? It's almost stop-motion-y, kinda? If we get into like a bit more of the gameplay, you might get an idea of what I'm talking about. It is effectively Ghost Runner, but 2.5D. It's kind of what I'm seeing. You are a cyber ninja guy. Don't think too much about it. Cyber ninja guy fights various cyberpunk type things. Not a whole lot of gameplay to it, to the trailer at least. But you get what I'm going. Like, the animations aren't necessarily fluid. They've got this kind of... It's not exactly stop motion. It's like in between. It's like keyframed, but without the blend, so it just jumps to specific keyframes. Anyway, there's a good while before this game will even be out. It will be kickstarted eventually. It's potential those animations are just placeholders and it will be changed. Who knows? Free Epic Games this week. Jitsu Squad is a Marvel vs. Capcom inspired 4-player co-op tag team beat 'em up with epic character transformations and fast-paced combat. Okay, so it's button mashing craziness, but all with characters you don't recognize. So it doesn't have that Marvel vs. Capcom feel to it, at least. And then the second game, Mighty Fight Federation. Slam opponents into walls, launch them into the air, and follow up with fast, high-flying attacks in this arena fighter. Choose from 14 characters with unique playstyles. Face off in 1v1 matches, team up with other fighters, or embrace the chaos of a free-for-all. It's got a bit of Power Stone to it, I think. I think at most you have a 4v4. Not 4v4. 1v1v1v1 kind of thing to it. Yeah, it does. It's a bit of a Power Stone vibe to it. Anyway, whatever. It's free. Moving on. Okay, so it is the beginning of the month, which means Xbox and PlayStation have had some refreshes. So we'll start with Xbox. Xbox Game Pass for the month of December, or at least the first half of December. So they're getting a bit of a bumper crop here. Far Cry 6 is probably the standout one. Then both of the Remnants, Remnant 1 and 2. Rise of the Tomb Raider is maybe the weakest of the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. So Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Personally, I think the first one was the best one. Rise, I felt, was kind of weak, and Shadow is kind of its own thing. Really. It's so heavily invested in its combat and stealth mechanics that it doesn't feel like the other two. Anyway, Spirit of the North is a bit like Journey, except you're a fox instead of some dude with no arms and a cape. SteamWorld Build has just launched, so it's launching straight into Game Pass. It's like SteamWorld Dig, except instead of going down, you're going up. Tin Hearts is like Lemmings. While the Iron is Hot, I don't know. Don't know what that is. World War Z Aftermath is your pretty standard Left 4 Dead kind of thing. Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. It's got a good title. I have no idea what it is. Goat Simulator 3 is actually Goat Simulator 2. They're just being very funny about it. And then Against the Storm. I don't know what any of those games are. So hang on. Let's go to the games I've never heard of. Like Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. It'll be out next week, September 5th. A robot voxel, slice him up where any part of your body can be sliced off. With your mind downloaded into Robot Gladiator, you must survive the sinister trials of the arena, fight up to 15 players in the last bot standing team up. Alright, so beat 'em up then. Or fighter game. Okay. While the Iron's Hot, also next week. It's a day one launch. Step into the boots of a journeyman blacksmith on a quest to become a master and restore a ruined village along the way. This crafty adventure game sends players to the mysterious Isle of Elian, where the world's finest artisans dwell. While you might forge a few weapons on your journey, this isn't the kind of game where you wield them. The island's troubles can be solved with your way. Okay, so it's Stardew Valley, I guess, except instead of farming, you're a blacksmith. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye on that one because I might like that. Then Against the Storm, a dark fantasy city builder. You must rebuild civilization in the face of apocalyptic rains. As the Queen's Viceroy, lead humans, beavers, lizards, foxes, and harpies. I don't know, that is a collection of people there. To reclaim the wilderness and secure a future for civilization. Okay, so it's a base builder type thing. Okay. That's only the first half of Xbox Game Pass. Obviously, we come back in the middle of the month and they'll have another refresh. PlayStation Plus, Core? What's it called? Essential? PlayStation Plus Essential is the monthly refresh with the three or four free games. So this month we're looking at Lego 2K Drive, which is a driving game but Lego. So think like Micro Machines with Lego parts, that kind of thing. Power Wash Simulator is exactly what it sounds like. You're cleaning things with a power washer. That's it. I know that doesn't sound really good, but it's actually really good. I really like Power Wash Simulator. It's so chill. And then Sable. Sable has a really cool art style, but chugs a lot on PS5 when I played it anyway. Now, if that's been improved, great, but I don't think it has, to be perfectly honest. So Sable is a coming-of-age, rite of passage type thing. You are sent off on your speeder bike out into the wilderness to find your way in the world, figure out what you want to be. You collect various badges, not unlike Pokemon. You collect various badges to sort of pick your way in the world. You're going to be an engineer, you're going to be an explorer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be whatever. And you go about talking to people, collecting quests, doing things for them, exploring the world. It started off really fun, but I got to one particular zone where the game just ground to like 15 frames per second. I was like, I can't play this. It's too bad. I can't. If they've improved that, great. I suspect they haven't, but if they have, cool. But also, it's free. You know, PlayStation Plus, free. You have to pay for the subscription, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. Normally, this is where I would tell you about the new games that you can play this week, but nothing came out. So instead, it's now time to talk about, the worst part of video games, the video game industry. So, Starfield isn't boring, actually, Bethesda tells Steam reviewers. So this is Bethesda jumping into the Steam reviews to be a reply guy and basically tell everybody who's saying they're bored of Starfield that no, you're not bored. You're just playing the game wrong. Now I get like customer support person or whoever is supposed to come into this and reply to all of these reviews. Obviously, this is going to say that no, you're right. The game is boring. Obviously, they're going to say, no, our game is great. You just need to play it more or whatever. What's kind of strange is that it's pointed out here. It's kind of rare to see a studio actually reply and have like substantive replies to things. Like that's a fairly lengthy reply. That isn't just go to our feedback form if you have issues with the game. Anyway, Starfield is currently sitting on a mixed on Valve storefront. What I did find interesting though is that the reply to them, people saying like the game is boring and there's nothing on any of the planets. You know, vast majority of the planets you land on, there's nothing there. The Bethesda's rep came back and quoted Todd Howard, in which he mentioned that the moon was empty when the first astronauts got there, but they weren't bored. They weren't bored when they landed on it. It's a slight difference. Like, if I was literally on the moon, yeah, I'd be pretty fucking hyped, even though there was nothing on it. I'd still be pretty hyped about it. It's a little different when it's a video game, and the whole point of a video game is interacting with the world, and there's nothing to interact with. If I'm on the moon, I can put my hand on the ground and, like, feel the moon dust or whatever, or compare my footprint to Buzz Aldrin or whatever, you know? Can go find that flag. Like, you don't have that kind of interactivity. You don't have that presence. Maybe in a VR game you do, but not in flat Starfield Gamebryo graphics. It's just a stupid rejoinder, really, to say that you shouldn't be bored. You're doing it wrong. It's like, no, I'm playing the game and I'm bored. This is my review, and because it's mixed, you're not the only person giving that kind of review. Anyway, they're being very protective. They certainly didn't come back to people, Skyrim or Oblivion or Fallout, in the review section and tell them they were playing the game wrong. Moving on. Alright, Silent Hill and Naruto games deny AI usage amid fan freakouts. So, yeah, there was a bit of a to-do on the social medias and such, claiming that Naruto x Boruto Ultimate Ninja and Silent Hill Ascension were using generative AI for their scripts, for their voice lines, and stuff like that. For the case of Naruto, it was pointed out that there was an extremely strange delivery of some of the lines. Naruto says, "Did that wake you up?" And the titular character, transforming from a gravelly voiced teen to a small toddler during the short line reading. Naruto's English voice, Mail Flanagan, immediately denied ever having delivered the voice line like that. It suggested that maybe they were futzing about with AI. The studio came back to say that no, we just kind of fucked up with our editing. That wasn't AI. That wasn't us. Okay, that's not great, but all right, we'll go with that. Silent Hill Ascension things was that everything was delivered so weirdly, that the cutscenes are so strange, that the dialogue is so strange that there's no way an actual person wrote this. But stuff like, "Wait, don't shoot, please. What are you doing out here? You could have been killed. I'm just foraging for wild berries. I swear, I stumbled on a great patch of rowan berries over here." Okay. And then anal jizz, which is pretty funny. Anyway, the conspiracy that Silent Hill Ascension used AI gained fuel thanks to past remarks by GenVid CEO Jacob Novak, suggesting the company was experimenting with AI for its upcoming products, including Ascension. So there was an interview that he gave a couple of months ago talking about it. and that they were looking into how how can we have so many lines of dialogue, and because the audience is ostensibly choosing the direction the story goes in, you know, you might never see any of those lines of dialogue. And they were saying, oh, we could use, you know, generative AI and so on. Like, the company is literally called GenVid. Probably should give it away, but no, apparently no, we just wrote it that way. We wrote it bad on purpose. Now, there's a way to look at this, and you could take them at their word. You know, benefit of the doubt. We don't have actual proof that they used AI, so benefit of the doubt. They got their writers together and they wrote bad. They just didn't write well. Okay, fine. The other issue, though, is that you're talking about hundreds of thousands of lines of dialogue. Potentially. Depending on what people choose. Some of these will never be seen. That's work that you're like paying your writers for, and then you're never using it because of the nature of the game, right? No video game studio does that. There's no video game studio that has you make content, pay you for that content, and then not use it. To that degree. Like, there's definitely times where they'll cut content out. You know, it's like, deadline's coming up and we just don't have time to finish this, so we're just going to cut it. That kind of thing, sure, that definitely happens. But to the extent that this happens, you're talking nearly 90% of the writing that you'll never see. 90% of the animations you'll never see, and so on. No. They didn't do that. And if they did, they're idiots. Because they're not going to remake that kind of money. In that kind of sense, it made sense to me that they would do generative AI in that sense. You might get your writers together to make a block of dialogue. Maybe write through a couple of different stories, a couple of different scenarios, and then use that as your learning model to make alterations in your generative. It's still going to sound like shit, you know, it's still going to read terribly. But if I was going to do it, that's the way I'd do it. Is anything misspelled? Are there any additional limbs? I don't think they did anything with the animations themselves. There is somewhere in the interview where they talked about how the animations were not great that were generated. They'd have one character get up and go to the fridge like 5 times in a row or something like that. Just if you look at the AI by Seinfeld thing, that's kind of what they ended up getting. They do have this. Where is it? I mean, they have this. I don't know if that's misspelled. It could be, I suppose. Anyway, it's a lot of work to pay for effectively before you've even made any money. That's a lump sum you're going to have to give out to your writers for a bunch of work you'll never see. It's not to say that video games don't cut content. They do. But that's a lot of content to cut in a game that's its whole thing. Its whole thing is dialogue. Anyway. So yeah, we've no proof they used AI, but the company's literally called GenVid, and they have talked about it previously that they would use it, so... Moving on. Take-Two and 2K sued over in-game currency in yearly sports series. So, big surprise, there's another class action lawsuit being taken against people for predatory microtransaction stuff. Everybody acts surprised. Okay. This particular class action lawsuit is over the removal of purchased in-game currencies from accounts when a game's online features are taken offline. So this is, I paid my money for basketball bucks for 2K 2022, 2023, whatever. And then 2K go, we want to make a new game and make more money. So we're going to turn off those servers and push everybody into the new game instead. Your basketball books, your baseball books, whatever, they don't come with you. They're gone. You effectively threw money into a black hole. I mean, you're doing that anyway, but now you really literally have thrown your money into a black hole. So this is... The games offer in-game upgrades which require in-game virtual currency. The virtual currency can only be bought with real money, so you can't earn it in-game either. Basket bucks. That's much better. That's much better. Basket bucks. Patent pending. No stealing. OC. So there's no way to earn this currency in-game. The only way to get it is to pay for it, which gives it monetary value, right? There is an actual exchange. You can do the exchange rate. Buried somewhere in the terms of service, it's going to say you have no ownership of these coins, yada, yada, yada. Whether that stands up in court or not is debatable. There's not always end user licenses agreements. The court is well aware that people don't read them. So their legal standing is somewhat nebulous. It's never really pushed because there's so many of them, and it would just cause the entire house of cards to fall down. But it's never really been checked. If you bury something in the end user license agreements or the terms of service, you know, and you actually legally force people to adhere to it. When 2K retires the server of one of its installments, any currency purchased within the game which hasn't been used is removed from the player's account with no way to transfer it to another game. The lawsuit alleges this counts as civil theft. So they have this idea that I paid for the currency. There's no other way to get the currency. Right? There's no way to like earn it through the game. Play 500 games of basketball and get a single basket book. Like, you have to pay for it. So it has a monetary value. That's now gone. You did not give them permission to take it away from you. That's theft. Are they liable for it now? Again, the end user license agreement will tell you whether or not you actually own the things that you bought. Spoilers, you don't. This is how these things work. It's probably going to be you bought a license to access the service or some bullshit like that. So, like most of the class action lawsuits that get brought against these things, nothing will happen, but something should happen. But it won't. We'll see. I don't see it going anywhere, but we'll see. Speaking of ridiculous microtransactions, Street Fighter 6 players drag Capcom for insane new costume prices. So, after remaining silent on the price for quite some time, so they showed off a bunch of new costumes going to Street Fighter 6. And they didn't mention anything about the price until it was available. You know, usually there's some concern for that because probably it's going to be way too expensive. And you know what? It fucking is. It's $100 if you want all of them. Right, prices are exorbitant. One outfit for one character costs you 300 fighter coins, Street Fighter bucks, which is the equivalent to $6. However, it won't be that simple because it's never that simple. Do you think you can just buy 300 fighter coins in the marketplace? No, of course you can't. You can only buy 250 coins. Where are you going to get the extra 50 coins from? Well, you're going to have to buy another pack of 250 coins, aren't you? So now it's $10 for one costume. And now you have 200 coins sitting there doing nothing. And of course, psychologically, you're like, I spent money on those 200 coins. I can't just leave them there. I got to do something with them. But I can't buy anything for 200 coins. So I'm going to have to buy another 250 and so on. And this kind of shit happens. That's why any of those microtransaction things, they always sell you them in bundles. And the bundles are always either not enough or too much for the thing you want. It's never the exact price for something you actually want. Ever. That's on purpose. There's a reason why they're done in bundles like that. You cannot buy exactly 300 Street Fighter bucks through microtransactions. Skins can only be unlocked by forking over real money and not through playing the game. So there's no way to just earn these costumes. You have to buy them. And the only way to buy them is to convert them into fighter coins, and you can't convert directly into the amount you need. It has to be in these bundles. So if you wanted every costume, it would cost you a little under $100. AKA double the price of the game for some different pixels on your character. Does that seem okay? I don't think so. If you wanted to get just one skin, you would have to spend $10 to get two separate bundles of 250. Capcom is not offering a complete bundle. It's not offering a discount if you buy 5 or something like that. It's, nope, this is how much it costs. You buy them all individually. I mean, it's not like Capcom don't have prior for this kind of horrible microtransaction shit. But it's pretty bad. Like, Street Fighter V was pretty bad for it as well. But also, Street Fighter V wasn't very good. So not many people played it. Street Fighter 6 is actually a good game. So it's particularly egregious. Will they do anything about it? I don't think so. Bungie did pull down one of their microtransactions because people were like, this is useless and way too much money. Will Capcom do the same thing? I doubt it, because they've never... Just go look at Monster Hunter and all that DLC, and you tell me if you think they're going to take it down. Okay. All right, last thing on our industry bullshit. Fish Labs to downsize by 50 roles. This is the latest Embracer Group fuck-up. So PlayOn, a subsidiary of Embracer Group, has announced that Fish Labs, the studio, will see around 50 job cuts. PlayOn are have a publishing partnership, I think, with Fish Labs. The announcement said that attempts were made to avoid layoffs, but because they were not able to get funding approval for their next project, they were forced to lay people off. Each individual at our studio has been more than just a team member. They've been a vital part of our creative journey, and that's why we're firing them before Christmas. Anyway, Fish Labs made Chorus, which was this actually really good space dogfighting game. So it's kind of disappointing. It's open for a sequel or something, because it played well. It was a bit too ambitious for its own good, but I thought it played really well. Anyway, we don't actually have a new release for me to play in the background, so we're just going to play the Dragon's Dogma trailer in the background, I guess. As soon as as soon as YouTube decides to load, that'll be good. When you're ready, YouTube. Alright, anyway. That was the news for the 27th of November to the 3rd of December 2023. Some good stuff coming out of Dragon's Dogma 2. Showing off a lot more of it. We now have a release date. It's the end of March next year. Pacific Drive, the roguelite Road Light game, also has a release date February next year. Cookie Cutter. It's that kind of 2D side-scrolling punk robot girl beat-em-up thing. Next week, December 14th. So that'll be pretty good. And then a couple of games being delayed. It's kind of expected, and I would say you're going to see a lot more delays. It's coming to the end of the year, and if the game hasn't come out now, it's probably been delayed. You can probably assume it's been delayed into next year. We'll probably see a lot more of that. Deca Police has been delayed. Flintlock Siege of Dawn has been pushed into next year. There are other games that have been pushed into next year as well. I just can't think of them right now. Xbox Game Pass getting a lot of stuff for the first half of December. Far Cry 6 and the Remnant games are probably the standouts. PlayStation Plus getting Power Wash Simulator and Lego 2K Drive and Sable. I know Power Wash Simulator seems like it's just chores, the video game, but it is actually really good. I quite like it. It's very relaxing. Your standard industry bullshit, I don't think 2K's class action lawsuit is really going to go anywhere. Like, it should, but it won't. Because again, they'll just point at it's a license, lol. You don't own the things you buy. Your money doesn't mean anything. Fish Labs being downsized again. It's not great for people to lose their job. It's particularly not great when they're losing it this close to what's going to be an expensive season for a lot of people. Having that kind of job insecurity at a time like this is not a great feeling. AI being used in Silent Hill Ascension, yeah, of course it is. Like, we can't prove it or anything, but it is. It's definitely being used. Anyway, that's our news. So what's happening on the channel next week? So we're gonna have... So these are the games that were going to be featured on the channel for the second half of 2023. If you're not familiar with what this thing is, this is basically all the games I had planned to feature from July to the end of December. If it has a green tick, it's been featured. If it's yellow, it is currently being featured, like Code Veronica or House of Ashes that we're playing with Melwin right now. Yeah, I keep saying Monster Hunter's being featured, but there hasn't been a new video in quite a while. I might need to change that. And Final Fantasy 2 we're coming to the end of pretty soon. So before we get into what's coming up on the channel this week, I'm just going to jump ahead a couple of weeks. We're gonna do the 2024 or 2023 in review, the tier list. So this is 2022's tier list that you're looking at right now. We had Elden Ring at the top, and we had Getsu Fumaden at the bottom. They know why. Both games know exactly why they're in the position they're in. We're gonna do the same thing with the games we did this year. So I will make the tier maker template before we do the stream, and you guys can make your own tier list out of those games, and we'll see how everything matches up. As well as that, we will then do our 2024 look ahead, see what games are coming out next year, see what games I might want to feature on the channel, or what games you guys might want to look at. Hey Melwan, late notifications. I know the Twitch app is terrible for notifying people when you go live. It really is. Anyway, we will look ahead. 2024 games, Deca Police, Dragon's Dogma 2, Pacific Drive. They'll all be on it. It's a question of what other games will appear. Anyway, looking into next week. You just got it now. It's almost like 30 minutes later. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, good God. YouTube, what's going on? All right. So this week we played After Dream yesterday. It was meant to be part of my Fully Plays Games a Bit series, where we play newly released games for a bit. Instead, it became a Fully Fables, because the game's kind of short. So I accidentally finished the game, even though I was not planning to do so. Yeah, it's kind of a short game, but I really enjoyed it. It's a fun point and click. It's got some real horror, scary vibes to it. The puzzles aren't massively difficult to figure out. It's got an interesting story setup. You're stuck in a lucid dream. You're somewhere between the afterlife and the living world. You're in the after dream, if you like. And somebody who has passed on wants to talk to you. And there's this kind of magnetic pull. You're being pulled towards the afterlife. They're being pulled towards the living world. You're going to meet together in the lucid dream kind of thing. And that's kind of the gist of the story. I won't go into it any further than that. Watch the stream or play the game yourself. It's cheap. Just, give it a shot. Anyway, we played that yesterday. But looking forward into next week, Final Fantasy II as part of my Fully Plays the Final Fantasy franchise. That's a lot of Fs. I should really find a Foley. I need a word that starts with F that sort of means play. Then it would really work. Anyway, Final Fantasy 2. I thought we were going to finish it last week, but turns out there's a little bit more in the game than I was expecting. So possibly this week. I do have a bit of homework to do. I have a bit of grinding to do. If I don't get to it, we'll play something else. But hopefully I will. FFs, for fuck's sakes. That will be Tuesday. Wednesday, I had planned to play Master Detective Archives Raincode as a full Fully Fables playthrough. But I could not talk on Wednesday afternoon. My voice is just completely gone. It's going right now. I can feel it. And that game has a lot of talking in it, so that was not going to happen. We have played this before as part of Fully Plays Games a Bit. It's probably the longest one. It's like a 5-hour stream or something. So I'm debating whether to just say that was part 1 and then just continue from there, or just start over. I'm thinking I'll start over because I don't quite remember the controls and the mechanics and stuff. So anyway, we'll see about that. But that will be Wednesday. Then Thursday, Resident Evil Code Veronica, same. I did want to continue it this week, but I couldn't speak. So yeah, we're going to continue Resident Evil Code Veronica. Code Veronica is one of the longer Resident Evils, so we're still pretty far away from the end of that. We are still on the prison island with Claire. We're about halfway through that section. So if you played the game before, you might know what I'm talking about. Saturday, myself and Melwyn have started playing House of Ashes. We are about halfway through it. House of Ashes is a slightly longer Dark Pictures game. But it's been fun. I think I preferred the House of Ashes over the other 3 Dark Pictures games that have come out so far. Lots of honey needed, I know, for the voice. If only I could actually stomach honey, things would be better. But it just makes me... I don't know, there's something about honey, I can't really ingest it. It's a struggle to ingest it. Anyway, House House of Ashes takes place 2001-ish, I think. You are a US military operation stationed in Iraq during the whole WMD shenanigans things. You are ostensibly looking for these WMDs, but you don't find them. What you find instead are underground glass vampire creatures. Shenanigans afterwards. Anyway, it gets started really fast, and that's probably probably the thing I like about it the most. I was going to suggest Argentinian honey candies. They might work. How candied are they? That might help. Did I have anything after this? Oh yeah, Eternites, right. So I did my random choice spin thing for the next Fully Plays Games a Bit. So we are going to play Eternites on Saturday. Eternites is a combination Japanese RPG and a dating sim. So you are in Tokyo. Tokyo is put under quarantine because of some strange alien invasion shenanigans or something going on. You are also, at the same time, trying to find a date on various dating apps and stuff like that. So it's, as I said, it's a combination where you're, trying to get to know your party members a little bit more than you normally do in a role-playing game. And at the same time, trying to not die from whatever it is that's attacking Tokyo at the same time. We did play a little bit of this in the Steam Next Fest. But there was some shenanigans with the Steam Deck. And when I went to restart the game, it started the game over again. It never saved, so we didn't get very far. But hopefully that won't happen this time. So we're going to take a look at that on Saturday. So that is the plan for next week. So Tuesday, Final Fantasy II. Wednesday, Master Detective Archives Rain Code. Thursday, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Friday, Dark Pictures House of Ashes with Melwin. And they have honey inside, but hard candies. Okay, if I chew them, I probably won't. Probably going against the whole use of those candies. Anyway, and Eternites on Saturday, and then we're back to the weekly news recap on Sunday. So that will be the plan. So that is your news and channel update for this week. Sorry we're so late today. I'm still ill. I slept through it. Anyway, yeah. So talking about that, and then also we will have the tier lists for 2023 and the look ahead for 2024 at some point before 2024. I haven't decided when. I might do it either in place of the weekly news recap or just after it. We'll just roll into it instead. I don't know yet. I have to decide. I might do it in place of Fully Plays Games a Bit series instead. We'll do it on one of those nights instead. I don't know yet. Also next week is the Game Awards. Thanks, Melwin. Me too, because I think I've been ill for like a month now. Game Awards are Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. They're at a very asocial time for my time zone. It's like 2 a.m. or something ridiculous. So I probably won't be streaming it. I will, of course, be watching it because I am irresponsible, but it's unlikely I'll be streaming it. I might. I don't know. Keep an eye on your notifications for 2 a.m., I guess. But we will definitely be talking about it in the weekly news recap next week. Right. I'm going to head off. Melwin, I believe, is playing Citizen Sleeper later today, so I might see you in her chat. A 2 a.m. stream? I don't know. I might. Think about it. The stream... This fucking Game Awards goes on for like 4 hours, though. I might fall asleep on stream. Twitch.tv/Melwin26. You can hang out and watch Citizen Sleeper with me. And Melwin, obviously, if she's still playing it. Monday, no stream. Tuesday, I'll be back with Final Fantasy II. Right. I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.